This is a review of Survivor Season 47, Episode 5, titled Scales Be Tippin. I'm your host, Dylan, and we have a full review. I have my partner in crime here, Richie. Richie, welcome back to the island.
Thank you, brother.
We are going to be renaming the Survivor episode. We're going to do a Survivor press conference where we are going to ask a castaway or ask Jeff a question as if the show just ended and we had time to ask him a question. After that, we're going to do stock up, stock down, as well as who is going home next week. But some business to attend to. Last week, you did predict the correct winner of Anika. Anika going home, which was a crazy early blindside. So while I pour up this shot, first shot of the season, right?
Yeah, first of the season. You had to take a couple last season, but
First shot of
I
the
still
season,
have,
we're going Crown
yeah,
Royale.
I still have yet
The
to have
crown
to
is
take one
yours.
live on air.
That's decent enough, I'd say. Richie, while I take this and try to keep it down, why don't you tell the people, if you showed up on the beaches at Survivor, which color would you hope you get to start with? Which
Ooh,
tribe would you hope you get that color? Which would be a great sign if you
yeah.
got it. Give us 3 and why. I'm going to try to take this down.
Okay. Well, I think that
Monica.
the very first color I would want, they haven't really done this color, but I could easily see them doing it like a maroon color. A dark red, burgundy, something like that. I could easily see that being a color they could add in, especially in this new era where they're trying, it seems like, different colors. Got to go for maroon and gold ASU. That brings me to number two. I think yellow is a really good one. Something about, I think the yellow just pops out on the beach too when they're standing near the water, by the trees, all of that. So I think yellow would be another really good one. And then my third color would be black. I think black would be a really cool one. I know that a lot of times they normally save it for the merge, but if they had that as one of the starting colors, I definitely would want black as one of my colors.
3 good answers. I think for me, it's got to go orange, purple, and then maybe like a light blue. And that's Phoenix Suns
Ooh,
related,
yeah,
but also I like
that
some
is
purple
true.
tribes now. I like some orange tribes. Um, and yeah, dude, here's to a good Phoenix Sun season ahead too. But that's for a different episode on this network. Let's get right into episode 5. We come out of Red coming out of Tribal Council where Teeny was a bit blindsided. She didn't have a vote.
Hmm.
Keyshawn went home, and we talked about this a little bit before, but while Teeny is in her guilt, feels bad that she didn't let Rome in on the side of the vote. Rome is giving shades of Tony here to me in just
Hmm.
this little moment where like Rome is kind of pressing Teeny on like Teeny who didn't even vote. Rome just immediately goes, "Hey, did you know about this plan?" And immediately backs Teeny up against the cage, if you will. And yeah, I don't know. What do you make of Rome here? This we talked about with Tony. He was so good
Hmm.
at cleaning up after tribals. It's a good
Oh
sign
yeah,
for Rome.
for sure. I mean, that was a great move by him. He makes it. I mean, it was almost not, it wasn't his plan, but I mean, he definitely knew everything about it. And he goes to Teeny and almost tries to put the blame on her and wants Teeny to feel like she is the one who was in the right and she did him wrong, even though it's the other way around. So I think it was a great move by him. A little psychological play there.
100%. And like Genevieve had so much to do with that plan as well. Of course, it was
Hmm.
good to see. Like there were definitely some cracks. Red had another really good episode. But then we start off with a reward challenge right away, right off the top of the episode, where all the tribes are walking in. We get a little audio up as they're walking in, and everyone notices there are only 2 tribes that are going to get to run. And we knew there was going to be some sort of twist, but Jeff reveals right off the top it's the Survivor Social Hour, a new thing. Which anytime Survivor introduces anything, um, it's a hit or miss, right? I mean, they love to experiment.
Hmm.
What did you make of the idea of Survivor Social Hour right when you heard it? Were you on?
Oh,
Were you cool with
yeah,
it?
I was definitely
Let's
on
mix
board.
it
Yeah.
up, and winning tribe
Hmm.
gets to go to the sanctuary. You're on board.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. And even like just something new that I feel like Survivor did kind of in this episode. I mean, they might have done it before, but haven't in a while. Was just Mike having them mic'd up as they were walking in. I kind of liked that a lot. I thought it gave
Yeah,
a really
that's
good
cool.
feel of like how they're feeling coming into this challenge, like a little raw emotion, if you will. But yeah, I do think
Yeah.
that this was a great reward. I mean, right before you think we're going to be close
Yeah.
to the merge at some point coming up in the next 1 to 2 weeks or episodes, I guess. It's, I mean, no better
Yeah.
time than to start getting seeds planted with other people.
Yeah, the new era does a really good job of like intermingling the tribes, of
Hmm.
course, with journeys, and people go and you kind of get like I feel like an old Survivor, you just kind of show up at the merge and like everyone really was meeting each other. But now with new era, you kind of get to the merge and you already are pretty familiar with the other tribes. Charlie was talking on the Survivor podcast that he's like a lot of what you do at tribes is you kind of just make up gossip about other tribes, what could be going on there, which is what we saw with Sam and Sierra, being
Yeah.
like everyone just jumping to random assumptions just because they're two very good looking people maybe, or they're just giving off some certain vibes. I don't know, but I think the Survivor Social Hour is a great idea. We just do a do you like picking rocks, or do you think it should have been a schoolyard pick? This was brought up on the podcast as well. I kind of like rocks, but schoolyard pick is
Hmm.
always interesting because it's like, ooh, Jeff will always interview the person last and be like, hey, like, how are you feeling right now? And it does help with
Oh,
dynamics. What
yeah.
do you think?
I would have loved schoolyard pick, especially if they would have done it like you can't pick someone from your own tribe type of thing too, like they do a lot. I feel like they haven't
Yeah,
really done schoolyard in a long time. I think they don't want people's feelings getting hurt, kind of thing. So
potentially, potentially,
yeah, probably won't see that
potentially.
for a while.
Probably not. So the teams get divided up. Though it was a really great challenge, of course. Pretty close. We get Teeny, Sam, Rachel, Sue, Teyana, Caroline, and Kyle. Everyone pretty evenly mixed up. There's only one person from Red on this one, being Teeny, and they end up winning, and they get to go to the survival social hour. And yeah, I mean, how did you make it playing out? Like, did you think is everyone really playing here? Some people are throwing people under the bus. I have Teeny, she's just kind of
Hmm.
showing that she's on the bottom trying to plant seeds for the merge. And then you get Teyana making a very big play, which she kind of gets caught. But Teyana
Hmm.
putting a little bit of red flags around Gabe for, again, planting seeds for the merge. But then you get um, Sue and Caroline sitting there and like big, like seeing it all unfold too. So it's you can't get away completely blameless here. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. It's what did you make of how it all played out? Whether you're there
I
lying
didn't.
or not. Teeny
Yeah,
didn't have
it
tribe
was
members there,
definitely.
so she could say whatever she wants.
And she, I feel like, almost did like the least amount of anybody, which I thought was kind of shocking. But yeah, Tiana, I think she did make a big
Yeah,
play, but I think it was a bad play. I think she should have done that when
yeah,
Sue and Caroline weren't around, and I think that would have been a great play if
right.
she had done that. So we'll see how it ends up
Yeah.
playing out. But
It maybe goes to show just like the way that TK was kind of underestimating Sue, that maybe Tiana underestimates Sue too, that they don't realize how close that Sue and Gabe are, because if you
hmm,
knew what we know about Sue and Gabe being so tight, I doubt you're ever going to say we should take Gabe out. Like that's when you pull someone aside and go,
that's true.
Sue
Yeah.
and Gabe are tight. That's a dangerous
Hmm.
duo, which kind of makes them even stronger. And we kind of see
They got
that
to be.
play out
Yeah,
a
they
little
have
bit
to be
later in the
playing that really good.
yeah, and then Sam gets it like is sitting there when and Sue actually calls out Sam and Sierra and is like, "Oh yeah, we kind of all assumed you guys were running the tribe," and that's again causing these like, "Oh man, Sam and Sierra." It's a weird still fallout having to happen. And on the podcast, I forget if it was this week or last week, but Jeff even made another disclaimer about, um, by the way, these two are not dating. I just need to be another testament to that. And I was like, are they hearing something like? Is someone in trouble? What is going on here? Because, or why is everyone thinking those two are together? It's crazy. Caroline keeps playing with Teeny a little bit later too. You kind of see them link up. It does appear that we're getting the merge next episode, or the game's about to change as the
Hmm.
like preview showed. So it's the timing of Survivor Social Hour is great. I hope they bring it back. You feel good bringing it back,
Yeah,
especially pre-merge.
definitely.
It's almost better than
Hmm.
Journeys. You could probably incorporate an advantage in here going forward,
At
where
some
yeah,
point,
someone reaches
yeah.
for the bread and you see the little scroll. That's classic. Or the best is when they're drinking the soda and then the little scroll comes down. That's the best. Back at Red is kind of interesting because you get Saul, Genevieve, and Rome all back at Red, and they're kind of dealing with the fallout from the night before. But Saul and Rome seem to team up a little bit here. but then the snake ends up eating its tail because it all gets back to Genevieve. So yeah, that's basically what happens here is Rome comes to Saul. Saul goes to Genevieve, and Genevieve goes, "What is like? What is
Mm-hmm.
Rome doing?" And then we get the epic line, the title of the episode from Genevieve: "The scales be tipping," because if Rome and Genevieve aren't tight, that's a pretty big alliance going away. That's already made big moves.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I
Yeah,
think she was, I mean, one of the highlights of the episode for sure. I think she almost cemented
yeah,
her spot as like the leader of that red tribe if there were to be one. Because I mean, anytime you have
yeah,
everybody telling you all the information, that's a great spot to be. She's not even going and trying to seek it; they're just telling her.
yeah. And even at the top of the episode, like Genevieve is consoling Teeny and is like, "Look, Rome is not in charge of this game. Neither is Saul. They both need us, and we're in the middle." And like
Mm-hmm.
Genevieve clearly has that power here on Red, but like I think Rome feels a comfort with her, which is another just valuable thing that she now sees and has.
Mm-hmm.
Stocks is definitely moving up on Genevieve. Um, yeah, they all come back, and Yellow was looking for food. Sierra's torn after Sam kind of reports that Sue had their eye on Sam and Sierra again. Um, and the more interesting part here, though, is when everyone comes back, is that we see which we haven't seen a ton of drama from Blue, but like Sue goes to Gabe and is like, "Hey, look, Teyana was outing you there." And it somehow gets to Teyana, where then Teyana goes and then apologizes to Gabe. What did you make of this move? It's a little bit like I don't know. It's just everyone tells everyone everything.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't shocked that Sue went and told Gabe. That made sense to me. But then, like, however, it
Yeah,
got back. I forget how it got back to Tiana. But then the fact that Tiana went to Gabe and kind of apologized, but only halfway apologized. Like she had to have known that he
yeah,
had found out from somebody because they told her. And so, like at that point, why not just come completely clean? Because you know he's going to go back to that person and see if he got the truth from her, which he didn't. So
yeah,
ended up being another X on her.
yeah. No, and Gabe seems to be like very aware of this, and like, yeah, that Blue Tribe hasn't. I mean, they've been pretty dominant in these challenges, or at least they're getting second
Mm-hmm.
every time. They're not losing. And yeah, Gabe clearly has Tiana in his targets, which isn't good for me because Tiana is still
Yeah.
my pick to win it all. Still in it, and if we're getting to the merge, I mean that's pretty big. Um, yeah, but it's not about making the playoffs; it's about getting to the end. Uh, okay, we get to the immunity challenge. Immunity challenge starts off with something I don't know that's happened before, but we bring back the chickens that were just one. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you're only there 26 days and waiting for eggs really doesn't make as much sense as when you have a lot more time. This negotiation makes sense, and I don't
Yeah.
know what did you make. The Yellow Tribe brings their chickens to the challenge and starts to negotiate with Jeff. Do you think it's a good negotiation? Because Charlie on the podcast broke it down by protein and by grams of protein of how much an egg is worth and how much a chicken is worth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they were screwed by only getting 18 little eggs for what, three chickens or was it four? Three chickens.
I think it was three. Yeah. I get that, but at the same time, like
Absolutely nuts.
they weren't willing to eat it, which I think is crazy to begin with. They're chickens.
Yeah.
Eat the chickens. Like, who cares? You eat chicken every day back home.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's not a big deal in the
Yeah,
island that you're eating
100%.
chicken. But I think they played the negotiation very smart. They overshot. It was classic. Like I watched a lot of these
Yeah.
like shoe retail videos, and it looked exactly like one of those shoe retail episodes. Overshoot, name your starting price. He undershoots you. Let's meet in the middle somewhere. So yeah, I mean they did a
Yeah.
great job. I think
And it,
18 was good. There is like the merge coming up. You always get
yeah.
way more opportunity for food once the merge comes. So I think that was smart.
Yeah. Yeah, and like it definitely seemed like no one was willing to be like, dude, screw it, let's just eat one of these chicken. Like no one's willing to fight for that. Jeff seemed to be a
Mm-hmm.
little more playful with his negotiation. I feel like maybe he's less whenever it's an individual game. And because I mean, I think he had said in the podcast episode that because Yellow really did earn these chicken, like he wants to honor that somehow. There is still a value to these chicken,
Mm-hmm.
even though value is less to those people because they don't want to kill him. They trade in their chicken, and we kind of begin with this immunity challenge, which becomes pretty narrow almost all the way till the end. But there were a couple of moments in between there where you had a knife that was
Hmm.
on the wrong side. You
Andy,
hear
man,
Sam
Andy.
break that down a little bit later with Andy. Oh, so tough. We get to Blue wins pretty comfortably, but then it's like neck and neck at the end. And there's a really great
Hmm.
moment there where they're racing back to the mat and Saul falls down. That's an epic moment because I kind of thought like, oh my gosh, what if that's that would be an epic Survivor challenge? Like, oh
And
my
it was
gosh, we've
definitely one
lost.
where you
You
could
could
tell
tell.
that you could tell Red had forgot that they had to go back to their mat because Jeff had to tell them go back to your mat, and I'm wondering like if he hadn't told them that, if maybe Yellow would have won.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and even like Saul was kind of like jogging back too, like, oh, we got it, this is easy, and then boom, falls over. Yeah, no, pretty epic, close challenge, but Yellow loses, and I finally, I spoke that one into existence. I'd say that Yellow was
Hmm.
going to tribal, and they lose their flint too, which is a hilarious turn on
Yep.
the fact that now they have eggs, and they can't do anything with those eggs because they don't have a fire. And the one morning they
I mean, I
didn't make
guess
a
they could eat them
fire is
raw, but
yeah, no, absolutely not. But Yellow is we're going to tribal with Yellow, which to me is exciting. That's what I've been begging for. So many interesting dynamics there. Anika didn't have a vote. Andy had a pretty erratic first tribal first episode, and yeah, there's all this Sam and Sierra talk, the girls all being together. This really could have gone any which way. But it's funny because in this kind of scrambling time, Andy seems to be like in full control of what's going on. And maybe he's really steering it, maybe he's not, but at least he's aware of what's going on. Where he gets the girls to tell them the plan. He's like, well, I told them.
hmm.
I led them into that, which he has the confidence and he is on the right side of everything. He wasn't being duped. I didn't make anything else of this scrambling. It kind of felt like when we left here, I felt like it was going to be Annika. Like that made sense,
Hmm.
but it was clear that
Yeah.
Annika did not know that. Which
Hmm.
I don't even like. Teeny last week didn't have a vote. It's kind of crazy that Teeny wasn't targeted. Annika doesn't have a vote. That seems like the easy target, even in
For sure.
seasons past. Like that's a big red X, where you're gonna get out. Um, yeah. Anything else with this scrambling here of because it just they seemed like it was easy vote for them, which it's never easy. That's
Yeah, and I think they did a good job of making it seem like, hey, like this last minute plan or whatever, maybe it'll go the other way. But I think kind of honestly, as soon as Yellow lost, I was like, oh dang, like Annika's gone.
yeah.
Like I would have been probably
And
like
Sam
say
has
like eighty
one more.
percent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Sam has one more dilemma too that he has to deal with is that he has an idol. He did not tell Andy about it. He told everyone else, and so now he feels like he shouldn't play it because he doesn't want to lose Andy's trust. What
Mm-hmm.
do you make of that? Because going in here, man, seeing Survivor, yeah, all these people with idol, you know that your idol's only good for one tribal. Like that is a big risk for Sam to be like, I'm not even going to cover myself because I think
Yeah,
it'll hurt this relationship. Is that crazy, or do you think he's onto something?
I don't think it's that crazy because at the same time, like everybody knows it's only good for one tribal. Like, what are the odds that they're
Right.
actually going to vote for you?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. True. I guess. But it
Like,
made
if he had
like
gotten one
yeah,
for
and even
three and
him.
told them one, that would have been a good move there. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because ultimately he kind of goes with it. He actually said that he's going to figure out something else to do with that idol, which I like that he still kind of
Hmm.
has it. Like there's a reason to not use it. You can still use it even if it doesn't have power, which is interesting. And I think that could be a fun wrinkle down the road
Hmm.
if it plays out right. We get to tribal. I mean, obviously, as it plays out, is a lot of confidence from Annika, even talking about the we and talking about how the plan that all came together, and you get this unbelievable blindside. I mean, is there anything else you want to highlight in tribal because it really is just that blindside at the end that is
I mean,
fantastic.
I'm sure you probably like remember this part too, but you get Andy when he goes up to vote. He says, "I've been bearing you for the last 10 days. Here's your headstone." Maybe one of the
Raise your
best like
headstone. And when he's
voting confessionals
as
I've
a
ever heard.
yeah, that's a pretty tough bar. Yeah, he says that like it's funny they cut to Sierra's vote and it just lets her write out the A, and then it blurs away and fades away to
Hmm.
somewhere else. Just a little touch where the editor's like, hey, we can actually use her writing the first letter because people think, yeah, what it's classic.
Yeah.
It's a really good move there. Good nod to the producers and editors there. But then we get the votes read. It starts with an Anika, then it goes to Andy, then we get Anika, and then they start to look at each other. Oh no! And then Jeff just takes forever then to read that next one. Reads another Anika and three votes just like that. Even if Anika had
Hmm.
her vote, it would not have mattered in this situation. I don't know if it would have played out that way.
Yeah.
But we get 60 seconds. Jeff says 60 seconds before Annika, from when you read that vote till she gets her torch snuffed, because she's just in such shock and anger and confusion. That was a good, real, raw moment.
And I mean, it seemed way longer than 60 seconds too. Like I thought,
Yeah, it did.
I
Yeah,
didn't
dude.
know she was gonna leave, dude.
Yeah, no. Like not blinking, eyebrows to the top of her head, like
Hmm.
whew, that was a tough blindside. And like, yeah, turning around, like, who did this? And then Sam raising his hand, I thought was interesting. And then Andy going, well, it was all three of us. And Sierra also looking like stone cold kind of killer, like, sorry.
Yeah.
And Rachel's, it's just crazy because Rachel's also got to be feeling like, holy crap.
Hmm.
That's also can't be a great feeling. Obviously, it's worse to not go home, or it's worse to go home, but to
Hmm.
also be like, oh my gosh, I'm blindsided and I'm still here. I have to go home with these people. That's a crazy feeling too.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so some really great early blindsides in this season, which I think is what you can
Hmm.
say makes a great season, is if you can have these blindsides even before the merge. It's incredible. Um, Tough for Anika losing your vote like that for a moment for Anika. Um, losing your vote like that's tough, and not really getting to go out swinging. But also, once it just is a lesson in confidence when you really think you're secure. Because I mean, she probably felt as confident as Andy did when Andy was the one who
Yeah.
had the correct confidence. But
Hmm.
ultimately, you got to be able to sniff that stuff out. And man, Annika goes home right before the merge, it seems, which is just too bad. All right. Well, let's go into Survivor press conference. Let's do that first. You had a question for Jeff, question for Castaway.
Yeah, my question is for Sam. So during the reward challenge, they had to find these three keys in these bags, and their tribe had already found all three of the keys, but Sam was continuing to look through all the bags, and I wanted to know if he was looking for some sort of advantage or something in those bags.
Ooh, interesting. He just kept
Yeah.
digging. Oh, so they found him, and he just
Hmm.
kind of. I didn't even
Yeah, and
notice that.
he's like, go guys, go, and he's like still looking through the bags. So.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Hmm.
wonder if he was looking for that, and if it was, and if they were hoping for him to find it. Because like even in the last episode, I forget who it was sitting on the sit out bench digging underneath the
Yeah.
benches for like, yeah, you kind
Hmm.
of got to get curious and I guess whatnot, and always be looking for any chance for advantage. That's a good question. Mine goes for Andy, and if Andy's watching, he can like, I wonder how the idol thing now plays for him, and maybe we will find out about this, which, that's how it goes on
Hmm.
this podcast. But like, if let's say Sam did last minute go, yeah, Jeff, I want to play this for me, would Andy's allegiance and trust really have changed? Like, I'm so
Hmm.
curious if that was, because I kind of think that was a really baller move from Sam, and it gives him points in my books to be risky. Because if you only have an idol for one tribal, you gotta use it. That's how I feel. And he
Hmm.
didn't, and he's fine. But he was mostly worried about that Andy trust, and I'm curious how Andy sees that now.
Yeah, I like that.
And maybe we will see how that plays out. Maybe, maybe maybe it'll get used against Sam, or it'll be used for Sam later down the road, as to some sort of resume thing. But that's my question. No question for Jeff this week. All right, let's go into our stock up, stock down. Who's Survivor? Which castaways stock is up and which is down? Let's go stock up.
For up,
You want to start?
stock up, I have Genevieve. I think she continues to
Yeah.
rise in the ranks of all the player rankings, and she had a great episode. It seems to be running Red Tribe, has people giving her information. She's in a great spot right now.
Yeah. I'm going. I love that pick. I'm going to go with Andy. I think Andy needed to make it through this tribal
Mm-hmm.
council. And once you make it through here, I really do think Sam has got Andy's back in this in this merge. And Sierra. I mean, Sierra and Sam. This might be the merge. Might be where they try to go at each other because everyone there's just it's just been such a storyline this season. But I
Mm-hmm.
just think Andy's in such a great spot coming out of yellow. Yeah, I like where Andy's at. So I'm gonna give Andy some stock up there, of course, because his stock was so low a couple episodes ago.
Yeah,
Stock
for sure.
down. I went with Rachel. The kind of Anika
Mm-hmm.
was Rachel's other you know other person in their alliance, and to lose that person pre-merge, that's tough. So I'm gonna go with Rachel
Mm-hmm.
there. Not a good spot, but of course anything can happen now in the merge. But that's where
See,
my
I almost
stock
feel
goes down.
like
And it
I don't hate that, but like I feel like before the merge, that's honestly not a bad spot to be kind of near the bottom of your tribe
true,
because you
true,
have two other options of people to go to.
yeah.
My stock down is going to go to Teyana. I
Mm,
think that
yeah,
she made a big
that's
mistake
fair.
in this episode, and it seems like Sue and Gabe are definitely, and I guess Caroline too, pissed off at her. So I think they that could be one that they as a blue chip could be like, hey, come the merchant, like we're willing to sacrifice like this one from our tribe.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah, that is that's tricky. Definitely I would agree with you there with the stock down. I just, that's my horse. That's to win it all. That's Tiana. I gotta be more critical. I can be more critical. I can do that. All right, cool. Let's rename this episode. It was honestly, this is a perfect named episode.
Mm-hmm.
That happens every once in a while. The scales be tipping. Really great. Great line and a really great picture for where we're at. But let's rename it. Richie, what would you rename this episode?
I renamed it the negotiation. I think that's a good
The
ode to the
negotiation.
negotiation they had with the chickens. Classic title, not too long, not too
Oh, the
short.
negotiation. Like an egg, you emphasize the egg. Is
Hey.
that what you're saying?
That's not what I was saying, but
Negotiation.
I like it. Yeah. Maybe capitalize the
Negotiation.
EGG.
Hey, yes, EG. Yeah. All right. Hey, your title, not mine. I like it. I like it. Mine is going to be something that you highlighted, but here's your headstone. I think that's
That's a
a
good one.
pretty.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a baller line from Andy,
Hmm.
and yeah, I saw that clipped a bunch of places, and it's just like, yeah, that could have been a title, and it's really. I mean, I wonder if you get your votes too. Ooh, that's a good question for Jeff. Do you get to keep your votes if
I
your
bet,
whole
yeah.
tribe voted you out? Do you get to keep those? That's what I want to know. That would be a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I bet the winner maybe has theirs. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I want to know where the votes go. Or do
They
they get sold
suppose
for
it, well,
auction?
I think they get a lot of stuff back from what I've like seen
Yeah.
on like TikToks and stuff.
Oh yeah, they were getting their like torches and stuff, right? That was I've seen
Hmm.
people like do
Torches.
unboxing with their torches.
I saw Maria got like her stool that she like sat on most. Um,
Oh,
I different on like I'm sure
interesting.
from here, but I know they get their buffs. Like on Big Brother, they'll get like their outfits that they wear in competitions back. So I
Yeah.
bet they get their votes or something along those lines.
Gosh, I don't even know what the one survivor artifact I'd want is. Um, yeah, that's tough. It probably would be one of the things that he puts out that the tribe has spoken.
The snuffer.
But I know he keeps all those. The snuffer, yeah, snuffers are pretty cool because it's not. Sometimes those are insane looking.
Hmm.
But yeah. All right, cool. And then last but not least, who goes home next week? You can get your 2 weeks. You can You can go heating up. I guess we could say that's the right way to say it. You could be heating up
Yeah.
if you pick.
I
If you
remember
pick
I picked
again
some
for
crazy,
next week.
they sounded like crazy picks last year and they worked out. So I'm going to go with the crazy one. I'm going to say Rome. Maybe it isn't
Rome
crazy.
could
I
be
don't
a
know. I feel like it's kind of crazy, but I'm going to go with
big week.
Rome.
Rome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go Kyle. I have Kyle down. I'll get right to it. I think Kyle goes home. Kind of lone wolf, individual challenges you have to start thinking about.
Hmm.
I think Kyle. I think Kyle could be an easy target. So that's who I'm saying goes home. We will find out at episode 6. Stick with us. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Who renamed the episode better? We love you. Thanks so
Let
much
us
for
know
tuning in.
what tribe buff you would want. What color?
Yes. What color have you arrived on the beaches of Fiji? Would you hope to be getting your buff? Yeah, because we've talked about that they're wearing the same color as their tribe too. So maybe
Hmm.
they did get to hear about it a few days before.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, must be some way coordinated. All right, we'll see you next time.